This is Kugan Cassius for IFL-TV. We're at the Hilton Hotel here in Liverpool for the Merseybeat press conference. Fighting on the bill, KELL BROOK. What's happening, KELL BROOK?
Everything Irie.
Is everything Irie?
Everything Irie.
Yeah?
For sure.
This fight here on the 15th, how would you call the fight? How would you choose to name the fight? Is it a tune-up fight, a warm-up
Tune-up,
fight?
keep busy fight, whatever you want to call it. But it's going to be a long training camp. It's like it's going to be, this fight on March 15th, and then straight away the next day, back in training. I'm in training now for the world title fight, but you can't look past your next opponent. I've got to have, I've got to be on the ball for March 15th, but I'm looking for that world title fight this year.
Have you spoke to Eddie about what sort of level of opponent or any names being mentioned for March 15th?
To be honest with you, I've not. I've just got me nut down, been in training. Just come back from Fuerteventura, and now I'm back on it. Back on it. So I'm looking forward to getting fit, getting healthy, and training hard, and getting ready for March 15th. And then straight back on it.
You'll be in a 10-round contest, this?
I believe so. 10 rounds. I'm looking to put a show on in Liverpool. Which I always do. Get the winning style, and on to the next.
With this fight for the IBF title with Sean Porter looming this year, did you ever think about possibly not fighting before you took that fight? Did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I think me and Eddie, sat down and decided that it was best for me to fight on this bill, because if I'm just sat at home and if I think that I've got till the summertime and I'm just I might not be in training as hard as I should be, thinking I've got plenty of time. That's why I'm training hard, focused on this fighting, this fighting hand. And then it propels me on to the next fight. I just carry straight on. So I think this fight was needed for me, instead of a keep busy fight, keep on it, keep active, be in the public eye. I think it's the right move. So we decided to box on this bill.
I think I've been out in America and Sean Porter was out there. I think he was training in the Wildcard gym. I didn't manage to catch up with him, but it would have been interesting to see what his thoughts were about this upcoming fight. I think there's a few stipulations. We don't know if he has to rematch Alexander in that time, or
I'm not sure. I've heard different things. I've heard that he's got to rematch Devon. I've heard that he could be fighting Keith Thurman. I've heard all different kinds of things, but the main thing is I'm mandatory, and I don't care who's got that title. I'm fighting for it in June, and I'm going to be a monster for that time, and I'm taking it, bringing it home, baby. Irie.
This time last year, like I said, you had a fight penciled in. It was all it was all happening, and
it weren't meant to be, Kugan.
It weren't meant to be.
It weren't meant to be. I had a bad year. I finished the year well, by knocking out Senchenko. But the main thing is, I am fighting for that world title, and it's just a matter of time now. There's a lot of politics in boxing, but I need to get my hand on that title, and believe you me, after this March 15th, I will not be stepping in the ring again until it's for that world title.
Who would you have rather been facing for this title, Alexander or Porter?
Porter.
Porter.
I prefer Porter. Alexander, he's a good boxer, but he's a negative fighter. It's for the fans. It's not appealing. He's a hit and move, and he don't really want to. He don't really want to fight, to be honest. But he's a good fighter, but he's a negative fighter. I think Porter, it'll be more suitable for the fans. They love the fight, so I'm excited that it's Porter, because I won't need to go and run after him. He's going to be standing right in front of me.
And obviously, I watched the fight with you, Porter and Alexander. Were you impressed with Porter? What you saw of him against Alexander?
Yeah, I were. I were impressed. Before the fight, I thought Devon, we're going to beat him. Probably points, but we watched it, and we were rating him through the early rounds, and he would just on him like a rash. He really wanted it, he really wanted it, and he looked good. We were on him, and he did what Bradley did. You know, just jumped on him, didn't give him any time to move, and pressured him, and you know, he won the fight.
Eddie Hearn mentioned that name that you know he's been linked with for the last couple of years in the press conference.
Queen.
A fight seems imminent with Floyd Mayweather, even though Floyd Mayweather put a tweet out the other day and asked the fans to vote who he should next fight out of Maidana and Khan. But he looks set to fight Khan, to be honest. So
it's looking like that, isn't it? It's looking like that. But
fair play to him for getting that fight, though.
Yeah, fair play to him. You know, good management team, good team around him to get the fight. It's not a fight. It's not a fight he's going to win. But if he gets the fight, it's a good. You know, it's his lottery ticket. It's a good fight. But you know, Eddie put that out there. You know, offered him $5 million to fight me. You know, probably think it's the biggest payday. You know, up to people are saying that why should it fight me? Nothing to gain. I think £5 million, you know, and it's what we all want. You know, it's what the fans want. It's what I wanted for years, just to knock him out. You know, all the calm fans. I get it all the time. I just want to put the record straight and knock him out. I've told you this.
This seems to have dragged on for such a long time for a fight that isn't really close to happening at the moment. No. Like I said, you've both got different routes you're going down.
Different routes, but you know what? Once I've got that world title, you know, that makes a huge difference. You know, and we could make it, can't we?
We can. So apart from that, everything else, Irie?
Everything Irie, always. You know, I'm happy. I'm training well. Looking forward to it. You know, fighting in Liverpool, city of Liverpool, and doing a job.
All right. Well, listen, KELL Brooke, thanks for talking to AFL TV. You like that one?
Yeah,
AFL.
I like it.
We look forward to next month now, isn't it? We're in February now, so
yeah, next month.
March 15th come, get this one out of the way, and then wherever it may be,
wherever it be, we could be having a trip to America. We could be in England. Who knows? Who knows?
Could be.
All I know is I'll be ready.
All right. Coogan Cassius with KELL Brooke here for IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Irie.